This podcast is part of the Big Heads Media Podcast Network. Go to bigheadsmedia.com for more great podcasts. Well, hello everyone. Welcome back to Massive Late Fees Dumpster Diving. That's the best. It's all the detritus of pop culture that we're crashing through as we go through the dumpster. Today, Mike, I would say maybe a stickier mess than we're used to.
I would say that.
Yeah,
for a lot of reasons.
First movie we've done here on dumpster diving, and I'll tell you, I described this a little bit. What we're doing, I guess. Okay, so we're doing Cannonball Run, the original 1981 Cannonball Run, starring Burt Reynolds, the late Dom DeLuise, the late Dean Martin, the late Sammy Davis Jr., the late Farrah Fawcett's in this.
That's what we have to say about this movie. There were no survivors.
It was directed by Hal Needham. Can you believe, Mike, that Hal Needham was Burt Reynolds' stunt double? And
I can believe that, yes.
Really more of a stunt choreographer than a director.
Not only that, I can believe that he's doing all the stunts as he directs the movie.
It's very evident in this movie that this guy is not a professional director.
Yeah, this movie's a mess, and I didn't even watch all of it. Like, what I understand about this movie is it always seems like the more celebrities that are in a movie, the worse it is.
Yeah, maybe the lone exception being it's a mad world.
I haven't seen that one, but I mean, like even like the I know you have a fondness for the original Ocean's 11 movie.
Yeah.
But I mean, but the one with what do you call it? George Clooney and I mean, that was an okay movie. It wasn't like amazing. It's not like the more celebrities you have, the better it's going to be.
Correct.
Which I think is the mentality.
Yeah, especially during this era of filmmaking, I think that was a big time mentality.
Yeah, I think this is definitely the point where cocaine was just taking over Hollywood because like I saw 12 minutes of the movie. I didn't have time to watch the rest of it, and I was happy about it because it was easily the worst 12 minutes I've seen of a movie in a long time.
Yeah, so as a little bit of background, this movie is based on an actual event that still happens. It's not really publicized much. It's obviously clandestine because it's illegal, but the Cannonball race was popular in the 60s and 70s, sort of when the highway system kind of, first really became prominent and everything. People would race from New York to California, and so across the entire country, and whoever posted the best time was the winner. It was kind of like an unofficial thing there. I don't think there was actually any kind of prize attached to it other than just kind of bragging rights.
Yeah, I think I'm sure something like this does still exist. I think I've looked it up on YouTube before because on the show Jackass they did something called I think it was called the Gumball, which is the same thing, but they were actually like going across the continent of Europe.
Oh, okay,
which is pretty crazy.
That is insane.
That's where they discovered that the Russians were stern but fair. And I think one of them broke his wrist, like trying to slide down a staircase on like a a baking sheet or something, whatever the fuck it was.
Okay. But
yeah, it's really crazy. Like people will do like marathon, like one person will stay up and drive as long as they can, then the other person will take over. As few stops as possible. Still, I mean, it's such a long distance. It's going to take at least 2 days or something. I imagine.
Yeah, well, the reason that I decided we should do this for dumpster diving is because there was a news story that came across that a team had broken the Cannonball Run record, and I believe they did it in something like 27 hours. That's how long it took them to go from New York to California, and basically they used the car's onboard system to kind of show the trip and how long it took and their average speed and everything. I think they averaged something like 120 or 130 miles an hour or something like that.
Oh, geez. Yeah, that's ridiculous. Because, I mean, the previous one was 32 hours, 51 minutes, and that said it's an average speed of 87 miles per hour, which is not legal most places.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
I mean,
But
if you could just go the distance in like Montana, go in a big fucking circle, you could probably get it done in no time. But
yeah, Montana has very few speed laws, which is a boon to some people. But yeah, they broke that record, and it got me thinking about this movie. And the last time I'd seen it was quite a long time ago, and I remember thinking, "Oh wow, what a great movie!" I remember liking this movie so much; it's so funny and all this stuff. I should go watch it. So I watched this late at night. I watched it. The movie's an hour and a half long. 45,
yes, it is.
45 minutes into the movie, I paused it and I was like, nothing has happened. Nothing's happened in this movie at all. Like, the plot hasn't moved forward at all. What the fuck? Why is this movie so bad? And I realized that it was one of those nostalgia type things, but I was like, oh, I gotta drag Mike down with
Yeah,
this.
and it almost worked too, except they ran out of time.
But there's a lot of interesting things about this movie. So I believe that the first 45 minutes of the movie is supposed to be introducing you to the characters, but it doesn't really do that. It cuts so quickly. Like each scene lasts about a minute to a minute and a half, and we go from all these different people in that are going to take place in this race. Our main characters are ostensibly Burt Reynolds and Dom DeLuise, JJ McClure, and Victor, who also has an alter ego. The backstory of which is like hauntingly hilarious and terrible at the same time. But he Captain Chaos is his alter ego, and then I guess the secondary characters would be Sammy Davis Jr. and Dean Martin. They get the most play, I suppose, and they dress as priests because they figure all these people are trying to figure out ways that if they run into the police officers, they won't get arrested for speeding or they won't get tickets for speeding. So, Dean Martin and Sammy Davis Jr., stars of yesteryear, even in 1981, they were probably about 10 years later than, from being big stars.
Yeah,
And
didn't they both like die like in the early '90s or late '80s?
Dean Martin died on Christmas Day, 1989, and Sammy Davis Jr. died just a little bit after that, I believe, maybe 91, something like
Oh, I
that.
thought you were gonna say like at the same day, and then he his last words were, "At least we'll still have Dean Martin."
Yeah, it was a regular Adams Jefferson situation. But no, Sammy Davis Jr. died of throat cancer because, like all of them, he smoked 1,000 cigarettes a day every day of his life,
Yeah, that's a
and
lot.
Dean Martin died of a heart attack. I assume basically for the same reasons. But yeah,
Yeah, so
they both died. Then Peter Lawford, who was also in the Rat Pack, died in the 70s from drugs. He was got into some bad drug habits, and then I think Joey Bishop was the longest one to live. He died a few years ago, and Frank Sinatra died of cancer in the early 2000s, I think.
did you know that Dana Carvey was in the hospital room next to him?
Oh no, I didn't know that. I know Dana Carvey had a lot of heart problems, but I didn't know he
Yeah,
was
yeah. I think during one of his operations or one of the first times he went there, he was like right next to Sinatra, like as he was dying.
interesting. Did Don Rickles
Show up.
well he told this very like an odd story. I mean, like, it's funny, but it's also kind of like it's like darkly funny cuz he's he's like sitting there like kind of just he's like, I'm bawling my eyes out and everything, like, Frank, oh, Frank, I can't believe, because they've been friends for whatever 50, 60 years or something like that. And Sinatra like looks at me, he's like, stop you fucking crying or something like that. He's like, stop bawling over me, like, whatever, you pansy, or something, one of those 60s Franken slang things. Um,
Oh, I thought you were gonna say I heard a different story about that actually.
yeah, go ahead.
It was like from Artie Lang or Norm Macdonald. They were talking about like on the set of Dirty Work. I think that's when I think that was around the time he was dying. And like so, like they asked him, they asked him how Frank was. He goes, "Oh, it's a lot of it's like choking."
Yeah, I've heard that story too. Oh, yeah. Yeah, he's it's I mean that's one of those things.
Well, he's dead.
Right, they're both dead. Don Rickles and Frank Sinatra.
I think my, to go back to Don Rickles and Frank Sinatra. I think my favorite story about him is, have you heard the one where like Don Rickles apparently like started dating like a new, a new lady,
Yes.
and like he wanted to impress her, so he's like he kept going up to Frank Sinatra like, come on, you gotta,
Yeah.
you gotta go over and say hi, and he just harassed him for hours and hours.
Yeah, they're at a restaurant and he's like, "Come on, Frank, come over. Say it would just mean the world to me. Come on over. Say hi. Just just say hi. Like that you know me. Shake my hand. All that stuff." And yeah, and Frank's like, finally, he's like, "Okay, I'll do it. Just go sit down." So he goes and sits down. And Frank's come over and says, "Hey, Don, how you doing?" And he reaches out his hand, and then Rickles says, "Go ahead. You can tell the punchline."
I believe it was, "Can't you see I'm eating here?"
Yes. I heard Sinatra tell that story on Johnny Carson.
Yeah, that's like the funniest like thing ever.
Oh, it's so awesome.
And I also heard, again, to talk more about these two, I also heard that at certain points during his life, like Sinatra would just have like a guy follow him around with like a bag full of cash because they just knew he'd be so irritable, he'd get in, like some kind of fist fight or something, or like push something over and break it. They just have a guy like toss out cash as he.
That doesn't surprise me at all. Sinatra definitely, especially with reporters, would get pretty testy, and he was known to punch a few reporters.
I mean, you'll probably end up in Jersey with a meat hook up your ass, but it's a good joke.
I kind of like. I wish that Cannonball Run 2 was streaming somewhere, because from memory. Now again, I haven't seen it in a while. It's a better movie, and I think you'd be more interested in it for a couple reasons. Sinatra actually has a cameo in Cannonball Run 2. Dean Martin and Frank Sinatra, or Dean Martin and Sammy Davis Jr. Come back to the movie, but also Charles Nelson Riley is in the movie.
Oh, nice! I'm a fan of his.
And from
what just occurred to me real quick.
Yeah,
in the next 10 years, we'll see Adam Sandler presents Cannonball Run.
Oh yeah, yep. That should definitely happen
on Netflix.
But so, like I said, real events, and everything. Hal Needham actually participated in it. The ambulance that they use is the actual ambulance that Hal Needham and Brock Yates they souped it up and they used it in the real Cannonball Run.
Oh, nice! That's a good vehicle because who's going to stop an ambulance?
Exactly. But there are so many. Oh my God, there's so much wrong with this movie. Like I said, they take like a minute for each scene, and you don't get to know them at all. Like, I don't even know the names of Dean Martin and Sammy Davis Jr.'s characters. And Roger Moore's in it, and he's just playing himself. He's just playing Roger Moore, which is weird.
Is very odd.
Yeah.
I mean, that must be, obviously that was after James Bond or during it because he played like the James Bond theme and, he like said he had to kill his mother or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah. He's, and then he, it's a prop gun that just says bang. And she just looks at him like he's an idiot. But there's a part in the movie. Now, this showcases how bad Hal Needham was at directing. So Burt Reynolds, and I'm just going to use their actor names. Burt Reynolds, their real names. Burt Reynolds and what's his name? Dom DeLuise are working on a car. They go out and race it, and they end up, crashing it and everything, and they get stopped by the police. So they have to come up with a new a new vehicle where they won't get stopped by the police. Eventually, that leads them to the ambulance. But they start thinking, and he's flying in a plane, drinking beer while he's flying, and they're trying to come up with different things. He's like, oh, would they stop this? Would they stop that? And Burt Reynolds says, oh, I need more beer. So he lands the plane in the middle of the town. Everyone's like running out of the way, and Dom DeLuise goes to get more beer. While he goes to get more beer, it's an 80-yard line, additional dialogue recording. So, obviously the plane was making too much noise on the set to get clear audio of it. But we see the exterior of the plane. It's a wide shot, and you can still hear the ambient noise of the plane. And Burt Reynolds delivers what's supposed to be a comedy line. I mean, it's kind of funny and like very mildly, but it's so mishandled that, it's not funny at all. But he says, what about a black and the other thing too is he delivers the line so poorly, Burt Reynolds, because this is exactly how he delivers it. He goes, what about a black Trans Am? No, that's been done. Like no pause at all. Just, like quickly going through it. And it's clearly a reference to Smokey and the Bandit, because,
Right.
he was in Smokey and the Bandit and drove a black Trans Am. But he should have, it should be like, what about a black Trans Am? Pause. Let everyone realize, oh, that's funny because you played the bandit. And he says, no, that's been done. But it's so, you can't see his face, the way it's staged, how removed we are from the scene. It's not, it doesn't connect in any way. It's just a completely mishandled gag in this movie. And they decided,
Right.
we'll leave that in.
And it was weird for them to make a reference to, mall rats, like in this movie. It was just odd.
Jackie Chan's in this movie.
Yeah, I was surprised. I think that's about where I stopped watching it. But yeah, not because of Jackie Chan, just because I had to go to bed and like I thought I'd have more time, but I didn't. So yeah, but yeah, I was surprised to see him not only in the credits, which were in alphabetical order, which was very wise, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, just like young Jackie Chan, it was very surprising for me. He's like, what is he, like some singer or something like that?
No, his car is it's the most stereotypical thing ever. And I think they cast him as like a Japanese actor, I think, or like a Japanese character, I think is what it's supposed to be, which is also funny. But his car is completely computerized. And it's the whole like early 80s. The Japanese are like all, tech and stuff like that, and that's what it is. The car is computerized. It can show where police officers are. It can basically be functionally invisible during driving. There's scenes of them where I'm sorry, I don't know the name of his co-pilot in the car, but they're wearing these glasses that allow them to see infrared at night, so they can have all their lights off and everything and drive at night and go really fast and not be seen. But that's basically all his character is, except for there's one fight scene kind of towards the middle of the film, and
Is he really good at fighting?
yeah, he's able to show off his martial arts skills. And even at this early time, and I believe this is his first American movie, he's clearly excellent at it, and it just goes to show how terrible everyone else is at fight choreography. The fact that he's so good at it.
Right. Yeah, it's kind of fucked up. I mean, like Asian actors during that era, like they're always the villain. Obviously, like they were. It's kind of weird because even in Die Hard, the first person who gets killed, Mr. Nakatomi, they treat him as a villain, and he's the guy who gets killed by a terrorist.
Right.
See, like they're like, oh, he's a Japanese guy taking over the country. He even bought falling water from that one guy.
Yeah, Frank Lloyd Wright.
Yeah, him too. Him, all those guys.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, but even he's like a villain, and then like you have like they either like teach like young kids karate, or they're like doing karate on people.
Mm-hmm.
Or like gung ho, they come to like take your plant.
Yeah, exactly.
Or they sell you a fucking gremlin to your for your like son. Or they like, they find like a green-eyed Chinese girl and they try and like, kill some truck driver.
That is true. Yeah, I haven't thought about that, but that is true.
The only one who had it good was Short Round.
Yeah. No time for love,
He,
Dr. Jones.
yeah, but even he had like, the stereotypical accent and all that kind of like weird stuff.
If they do another Indiana Jones movie, which apparently they're going to do, I think they should have adult Short Round. And then I think if they're going to continue the franchise, that Short Round should be the new Indiana Jones.
You know what? I think you're going to think I'm insane when I say this, and you would know more than most this person's acting ability. I think in like 10 or 15 years, what's his name? Shia LaBeouf is going to be the next like Robert Downey Jr. slash the new Joaquin Phoenix, like an actor who like was kind of there and like he just becomes like, a really great actor.
No, I wouldn't doubt it. I think you're right on, because he does have a lot of good acting skill, and I think eventually, with his weird like life and everything, he'll put it all together.
Yeah, I think he's very interesting. He was on Hot Ones. It was very like the first time I ever saw him interviewed. It was very revealing. He's a very introspective person. He thinks a lot about what he does. Like he's tried like different methods. He's tried method acting. So I think when he was on that Tank movie with Brad Pitt, he like just didn't shower for like weeks at a time and stuff to get more into character.
Mm-hmm.
But I think I'm telling 10, 15 years, he's either going to be the next like Joaquin Phoenix slash Robert Downey Jr. or scenario number one.
Yep, it's going to be one of those two things for sure. Oh, man. But yeah, Adrienne Barbeau is in this with another blonde woman as well. And their big thing is they're hot and they have big breasts. So they wear low-cut shirts, and every time they get stopped, they zip down their tops and everything. And it works until they get pulled over by a busty female cop.
Then it gets way better.
But then, and also, for some reason, Bert Convey's in this movie. And I don't know what he's supposed to be. I guess a CEO of some company. We never learn anything about his character other than he rides on a motorcycle and all his lines are ADR'd, basically. Jamie Farr's in it. He plays a Middle Eastern like Shaw or something like that, who stops at a diner and like real quick to get food. He calls in an order, and this other attractive woman is there, and he says that he's coming back to buy her.
Right.
Yeah, there's Peter Fonda's in the movie, Mel Tillis, Terry Bradshaw is in the movie. There's so many people in this Jimmy the Greek's in it too.
Oh no.
Just playing himself.
Did they have any comments about which person might be faster if the race is on foot?
He said that the darker cars had a better chance of winning the race because they showed less extra. Yeah, they showed less dirt, and they were harder to be spotted by the police and everything. They had certain inbuilt advantages.
Oh, did you something similar? Did you see the thing about Lamar Jackson? Like, I guess now to the next game, which I think is tomorrow, he's gonna wear like white gloves and like white sleeves, so people can't complain that like the balls. That's hilarious.
That is awesome.
And I can't remember who they're playing, but I think it's the Jets. They're gonna fuck them up so bad. It's just gonna be ridiculous.
Absolutely.
He's probably angry about that too. So.
But yeah. So this movie is terrible. I mean, basically, it's here. I'll go through the plot of the movie. It won't take long.
No.
There's a race from New York to California. There is no known prize. They all clock in. And the scene of them clocking in, they use like a regular time card. The scene of them clocking in takes forever, because each one of them has to have some fucking comedy line or something like that. They're all featured, and they all clock in one at a time. It takes forever. And then at the end, there's a foot race to be the first one to clock in, but they're like in California, but they all clocked in at different times in New York. So it's like whoever does the best time, like it doesn't. Whoever's first, it doesn't matter because if you were the first, if you were also the first to leave, then maybe your time isn't as good as somebody else's time. So it's I don't know. The whole thing is odd. I'll go through the plot and then I got another thing to say about Dom DeLuise. There's a race. There's no known prize. Whatever. The guy trying to stop them has the vaguest sort of reason to stop them. He likes the environment and he likes trees. And Farrah Fawcett's character is a reporter that also likes trees. She likes nature, but she also loves the feeling on a warm night of bawling under a tree, she says. Which is the weirdest fucking thing to say. She just says this to this environmental dude out of nowhere, and he's clearly fucking turned on. And then she tries to...
See,
yeah.
They clearly missed the opportunity to just turn this into like a great porno.
Yeah, I mean, that's basically... It almost is. But, so, there's no prize for the race. People just want to win it for whatever reason. And then, although Sammy Davis Jr. and Dean Martin have bet a considerable amount of money on themselves to win, so I guess there's money in it for them in that respect. And then they race. There's wacky adventures. Not much happens. It's mostly just them driving, and then it's over. Then they get to the end, and it's over. And that's it. That's the movie. Not much happens at all.
Yeah. Are you familiar with the career of Dom DeLuise?
I'm fairly familiar with it. I know he's had it up to his tits with stuff.
Was he like? Did he get like more obese later, or is this like about like how obese he was the entire time?
No, I think he got when he first started out, like when he was really really young.
You are familiar with the career of Dom DeLuise.
When he was a 10-year-old, no, but when he was, when he like first burst onto the scene, he wouldn't even be considered fat at all by today's standards. I would say like maybe very little overweight. Here he's obviously a little bit bigger, and then towards the end of his career he got a lot heavier. Yes, a lot heavier than he was at this time for sure. But yeah, they definitely consider him the funny fat guy, which is so weird because he probably weighed like, I don't know, 220 pounds or something like that. Like he was barely overweight here. But they call him the blimp.
Yeah, it's like I think I made the argument that like like a policeman nowadays would be like the fat man at like a sideshow, like 50 years ago.
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
So it's like seeing like them call like Dom DeLuise like the like they're making all these fat jokes. Like he doesn't really look that fat.
No, and he definitely got much fatter later.
Got into the full Hawaiian shirt phase.
Exactly. But his character is really weird. So he has an alter ego of Captain Chaos, and the reason that he has this alter ego, as he tells a story to Farrah Fawcett, when he was 10 years old, a bunch of kids ganged up on him and started beating the shit out of him.
Is that when he went by the name Horace Maxwell Ford?
Right. But they were just kicking the shit out of him. And he said Captain Chaos showed up and beat the hell out of all of them. And from that day on, he's always protected me. Because she's like, well, isn't it weird to have him like in your head? And he's like, oh, he's not in my head. He's out there. But like he'll come to me when I need him, basically. And they treat this, and he tells this story, and then later there's a fight scene.
The first 5 minutes of meeting someone?
Right, exactly. But he tells this story, and then there's a fight scene later in the movie, and he does every time he becomes Captain Cass or whatever, he dons, the mask and everything and goes, dun, dun, dun. And they treat it like a joke, even though it's a very fucked up story. It's like I was being fucking my ass kicked by 10 different kids. It psychologically broke me at 9 years old. And I've had this split personality ever since. Is basically the story. Isn't that funny?
No.
Oh my God. This movie is it's so wrong on so many levels.
Yeah, and it sucks too.
But that is our episode for the week. Let us know if you watched Cannonball Run along with us, and if you enjoyed Cannonball Run because you also suffered brain damage from getting your head kicked in by 10 different kids. And let us know if you didn't enjoy it because you're a well-rounded individual. But yeah, massive late fee on Twitter, massive late fee everywhere.
And if any of you out there in Montana, maybe get some laws that have speed limits. That's kind of dumb.
Yeah, exactly. Run over some steers.
I mean, hey,
fucking big
what are you,
country.
You're Sammy Hagar? You can't obey fucking basic traffic laws?
Exactly. Be like David Lee Roth. Obey traffic laws and ride around in ice cream trucks and fuck girls. I don't know what the fuck he's up to.
Did you know that he's up to a lot, actually? Did you know he's a paramedic?
Oh, yeah, I did read that, yeah.
And I think he went to Japan to master swordsmanship.
Wow.
Yeah, so this next fucking reunion is gonna be awesome.
Yeah, they'll fucking cut
people up and fucking put the stitches on right there.
Yep. Yeah, he'll cut Eddie Van Halen's fucking head off. Oh,
stitch it back up.
Yep. All right. Well, that is our show. We will see you. Well, not next week because we're on vacation. Remember, until January. But we will see you next decade.
We should have done Jingle All the Way.
Yeah, we're doing that. No, we're not doing that. We're doing the Santa Claus on retro late fee.
Oh, well, I mean for dumpster diving. If we're gonna do a long ass movie, I could have not watched that one instead.
Yeah, I could have done that. This is like Christmas for car nerds or gearheads. Is that what they call them? What
is?
Cannonball Run. It's like Christmas for them.
Oh, yeah, I guess. Yes, I found it weird that there's a Lamborghini. You would think it would be an American car, especially during this time period, but...
Yeah, well, the Lamborghini and a Ferrari. The priests are in a Ferrari. They also, at some point, Burt Reynolds goes through a town and says, hey, these priests are guilty of, molesting kids or something like that.
What? How'd you leave that out?
and the cops like, oh, I'm gonna fucking get them, and some, I don't know how they get out of that, but eventually they do somehow get out of it.
See, I don't understand. I mean, people have been joking about priests molesting children. As long as I've heard of priests, that's always the typical joke. But then it's suddenly a shock when they find out that priests are molesting children.
Yeah, where do you think those jokes came from?
Right.
It's like expecting no Mexicans to have a velvet painting of Elvis. You know what I mean? That obviously did happen.
One of the most hypocritical things I've ever heard in my life was I used to listen to Jay Moore's podcast. Mm-hmm. I don't know what he's doing with it right now, if he still has it, whatever. But he was talking about the Penn State scandal. He's like, how can you do this? An entire organization. Then 5 minutes later, he's like, oh, these Catholics are being persecuted. He's like, you can't blame an entire organization. I'm like, you just literally said you can do.
Right. Fuck.
Yeah, he's kind of a douchebag.
Yeah, he is. He does a good Christopher Walken, but he's a douchebag.
Yeah, he's really good at impressions, but I don't know, he just doesn't seem to understand how social interactions work, I guess.
Yeah, maybe he could impersonate a normal human being. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, or maybe he could not have those dead eyes.
He does. He looks worse than an Ewok.
He looks like a shark.
Oh. All right, well, that's it for us. We will see you in January. Have a good week. Bye.
See you next year.